As the great independent director Mr. Werner Herzog once said, I despise formal restaurants. I find all of that formality to be very base and vile. I would much rather eat potato chips on the sidewalk.
Hello and welcome to Potato Chips on the Sidewalk. I am Laryngitis Jacob, and joining me today is...
Barbecue Benjamin.
So, for the past few months of the podcast, we've only really been doing Succession and Barry and The Last of Us as well. So, but we are back to watching movies. But something we saw that isn't a movie is Andy Muschietti's The Flash.
Yeah, no,
Yeah, what a horrible... We haven't done a good pan in a while. And, oh boy, there's a lot to pan here.
This movie, it, like... I hate to do the thing where it's like, it hardly even qualifies as a movie, but...
It doesn't.
It sucks. Like, to be kind about it. This thing is horrible. I have one nice thing to say about it is that there's one good scene.
I'll say there's two, but yeah, I know the one you're talking about. This isn't. I think the one you're talking about isn't really a spoiler, so I think go ahead and say it.
Oh, I think we just spoil the entire thing, to be honest. With if you haven't guessed, if you're listening and you haven't seen The Flash, don't
see it.
No,
yeah, don't see it.
I'm sure you've already seen everything floating around, showing of a lot of stuff of why this movie is horrible. But yeah, let's just say spoilers for The Flash from the get-go. It's a bad movie, so you're not spoiling anything for yourself if you listen to this instead of seeing the movie, in my humble opinion. Yeah, the one good scene is there's a bunch of babies falling out a hospital window and the Flash has to save them. That was fun. It was funny. It had like the right amount of just like, I don't know, unhinged lunacy and, like, this is a superhero saving a bunch of babies, like, that was fun. But it's wrapped around this just cynical studio, just fucking... This movie thinks you're stupid. It thinks that you will eat anything up because you've seen that character before, you've seen the actor play this before, you've seen this, you've seen that. It thinks you
heard a certain actor was once attached to a certain role.
Yeah, like, it thinks that as a cinema-going audience, we're all idiots and we will just yap it all up. And I like James Gunn, and I get that as like a head of a studio coming in when something is already completed and you have to, and it's costs $400 million or whatever, however much this movie is like reportedly like been, reported to be like completely like over budget. I get that he has to sell it.
Yeah.
But it's like the biggest overcorrection of somebody hyping something up I've ever seen in my entire life.
Yeah.
Like, I can't believe like the things that he's been publicly saying about this movie. Is like, I haven't seen this new Indiana Jones movie. Oh, like, not many people have, but I don't see like Kathleen Kennedy being like, "This is the best thing ever," like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just kind of, I wonder whether it was James Gunn's idea to hype this up as something big. But what I was trying
that's the thing. There's like been a weird people knows there's like been a weird like celebrity endorsement element to this whole film.
Okay, can I just say
Like-
that Tom Cruise did not like this movie?
Neither did Stephen King. Actually, Stephen King.
Stephen
maybe.
King
I don't know.
might have liked it because Andy Muschietti put him in It Chapter 2. But like,
Oh, that is. Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
I forgot. Yeah.
but the thing I'm trying to get at with this movie, thinking you're stupid, like, I completely like turned on it where there's a scene. Okay, and get this. Gal Gadot turns up as Wonder Woman, and that stupid Junkie XL theme plays or whatever. And she rescues Batman with her glowing
Batfleck.
She rescues him with her like glowing lasso of truth or whatever, and it's still around Batman's hands, and he starts saying stuff, just not through a filter, and he just starts speaking freely. And then it cuts to the lasso of truth being tied around his hand, and then it cuts back to Wonder Woman, and she just says, "Ha, the lasso of truth." Yeah, we got it. Like, that's how stupid this movie thinks we are. That like it does like a very obvious gag that you would expect from something like that after like, I don't know, like, was it 2016 that Batman vs Superman came out? Wonder Woman's been around. She'd had 2 films. She's been in 2 Justice League movies. Well, kind of one, but like
Also, she's one of the most iconic superheroes of all time,
Yeah.
and that's like the most iconic weapon.
what I mean is like the audience knows that's what it is, and it's just like for Gal Gadot to be like, haha, the lasso of truth, just to be like, oh, thank you for explaining this, to my dementia-riddled grandfather. But like, he's not watching this movie because he'd fucking be dead. He'd have a heart attack. This fucking... I haven't hated something like this in a long time. Unfortunately, I did see Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. Which,
And look, as the guy who's like the big Ant-Man and the Wasp parader, much to the what's the word I'm looking for? Embarrassment of being that guy. I haven't even watched that one.
the thing is like, I also watched Thor: Love and Thunder. I hated both Ant-Man and Thor. I wrote those off as products of laziness. I think this is a hateful movie. The Flash is like the epitome of everything that's been wrong with this genre for a long, long time, and blockbuster filmmaking in general. And I can't say enough bad things about it. For a movie that features, I think at least 4 versions of Batman, I don't think he's ever portrayed at night. Like, I thought we agreed after The Dark Knight Rises that Batman was never allowed to be in daytime. I thought that was just like, we learn our lesson from that one. But
Well, I'm not sure if that's learned your lesson. I think it's also just like that's the point of The Dark Knight Rises is like he is literally coming out of the shadows.
no, yeah, I get that, but like, he does look goofy.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
But like, I don't know what they dressed Ben Affleck in. I don't know what that suit was. I'd venture to guess it'd look better in darker lighting, but like to put that thing in broad daylight and just like it just looks horrible. Like every superhero suit, every like location just looks just plastic, and not to mention people's faces. Like before our screening, Andy Muschietti appeared on screen and said like, "Oh, this isn't the final version of the film," which was odd because it was 2 days before release, and then you got an email saying that we were one of the first audiences to see the final version of the film. So throughout the entire film, I was like, "Oh, okay, I guess these terrible effects, I can't hold it against it," because Andy Muschietti told me this isn't, this isn't finished. And then we found out after it was, and I couldn't comprehend that, like, this is, like, they're okay with releasing the way it looks. So I've been ranting for a long time. Jackie, what do you think in general of The Flash?
No, you go on. You go on.
No, I'm working myself up. Jackie, what do you think?
Yeah. I think it's slop. Like, it's a film that, like, at some moments probably has a bit more heart than something that's usually one of these products. Like, there is this whole thing where, he just wants to go back in time to save his mum. But then it becomes slop. It's just a film of nothing. It's like, my Letterboxd review was like, because I watched this in Spider-Verse in the same day, Spider-Verse before this, that I felt like my Letterboxd review of this film said that doing that, Spider-Verse and The Flash, felt like eating a good meal than eating a piece of gum that's already been chewed off the floor. Like, it's nothing. I could pinpoint so many moments of it that just feel false, like having Michael Keaton introduced with the long hair and a beard just to obviously hide the fact that there's a body double for not just the stunts in that scene, just straight up like shots of him walking up the stairs are just not Michael Keaton.
There was a shot of him just like walking up some stairs, and I just looked at you and I was like, that was definitely him. Just like, like they couldn't even get him to walk up some stairs. Like he's either sitting down, like he's sitting down, or he's standing in the Batsuit. He does nothing else in the entire. I'm talking about Michael Keaton, and like,
yeah,
I don't blame him. He get that bag. I guess like the Birdman money ran out, and you had to like go against the entire premise of that film. But I haven't been as angry watching something like in a long time. And I think we should bring up the hot topic on the internet. The just complete and utter just desecration of dead actors' images for your superhero garbage fest. Like, then like it's not even like something that these people, like, I'm telling you, Christopher Reeve or Adam West, if you had told them in their lifetime that a computer was going to recreate their image playing these characters after they were dead, they'd tell you that you're the devil and to stop talking witchcraft to them. Like, they couldn't even comprehend this as a thing that could happen to them. And I don't want to their estate signed off on it, sure, whatever. I don't care about their estate or like whatever money was involved. That's not the issue for me. The issue for me is it is an issue, but the issue for me is who is writing this, who is conceiving of this, that thinks this, I'm going to dance on this person's grave for this fucking Flash movie. It's disgusting. I can't have a different word for it. It's like literally disgusting.
Yeah, and look, that's the thing. It's like, I honestly, I have no issue if someone who was alive and is aware to have known about CGI resurrections of people signed off on this shit happening. I'd still think it's like emotionally manipulative and ugly looking in a film, but at least that's okay. But like, that's the thing, Christopher Reeves, like fucking George Reeves, Adam West, they probably didn't know what the fuck was going on. I mean, Adam West might have, but
George Reeves
I don't know.
definitely had no idea.
Well, yeah, he died when in like the 40s. So
Yeah, like but like, who was this film made for? Like,
yeah, I don't know, and that's the thing. So, sorry to interrupt, but it's like that entire sequence. It's even by cape shit standards, it's just thrown in there like
yeah,
it's at the climax of the film where everyone's like, oh, all these like multiverses are collapsing on one another, and like the first one's almost sort of thing, but then it's just like Christopher Reeves and Supergirl are just standing there looking like, I was like, why are we watching that?
Yeah, like,
nothing's going on.
it's like, you know, like a lot of these cameos and things, like, oh, this person shows up to do something. These people just they just show up and just stand there and just look. They're like, huh, what's happening? They actually don't do anything. They're just there to be there.
I'll tell you what it did remind me of. It reminded me of, this is a very weird deep cut. It reminds me of a sequence in The Forbidden Room by Guy Maddin and Evan Johnson, which is like an experimental film which sort of like is comprised of like the ideas of silent films that have been lost and then recreating them with like new actors and stages. Like there's a part in that where a character opens a book called The Book of Climaxes, and it's just like all these like out of context scenes just like happening, and it's like insane and crazy. It almost feels like that, but for like shareholders, and like it's not like intended to be like there's just no reason for it.
There's no reason to do it other than just to get headlines.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like there's no, like, you know, a Guy Maddin's an experimental filmmaker. He doesn't need to have a reason to put something in there. But the Book of Climaxes rides an emotional climax of this anthology film, essentially. So like there is an emotional point that's very clear there. This just feels corporate and weird and gross, and I have to say, despite all the lifeless CGI recreations of actors, they aren't the most lifeless actor in this film. That has to be Michael Shannon, who, for a film that has Michael Keaton not even wanting to walk up a bunch of stairs in a shot, and literal CGI puppets of dead actors, Michael Shannon rocked up.
I don't think he rocked up.
He apparently rocked up.
I think he was animated.
He was animated, but I think he literally just walked onto a soundstage, recorded 5 lines, probably didn't even know the lines when he got onto set, and it was like, okay, well, whatever, like, and like probably made like $2 million, which is cool because Michael Shannon's awesome, but like, I don't think, and this is not hyperbole, I don't think there has ever been a more checked out performance in any superhero film than Michael Shannon in this.
Yeah, probably not.
He just did not give a fuck.
Yeah, or I don't think he gave a shit 10 years ago in Man of Steel either.
He at least tried. There is the whole, like, weird yelly performance of Zod.
Yeah.
He was having fun with it.
But and just talking about performances, I have to say, for, like, you know, anybody who's like a big, like, fan of this character or whatever, I hold no reverence to the Flash at all. Like, he goes quick, okay, whatever. I don't care. Is this like a version of the character that, like, these, you know, like, these superhero AVI Twitter people like, because I don't know what Ezra Miller was doing in this, but they, like, surely, like, everybody hates this version of the character, because it, like, why is he an idiot? Is this how the Flash is meant to be? Because I don't know. I'm gonna admit that, but, like, it was just irritating.
Yeah, it's a weird performance, and I hope we never see Ezra Miller in a film of this length again, and that they get therapy. But that's not the point. That's not the film. But yeah, it's an annoying dual performance, and yeah,
It's well, our objective with this episode was to bring up our two most recent superhero films we've watched before this. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 and Across the Spider-Verse. Let's just start with Guardians 3 for a second. We talked about James Gunn already. James Gunn made such a great, heartwarming, like, actual, like, a film with actual, like, pathos. You know,
heartwarming and heartbreaking.
And like a film that, like, actually, like, had me, you know, like, almost shaking in my boots about how much I cared about young Rocket. You know, like, it's Guardians 3. Is a great movie, and for him to slap this in front of us and tell us that he loves this film, like, it just makes it just so disingenuous, because I just don't believe someone who can take a movie about a little tiny talking raccoon, you know, and, like, make it that, you know, emotional and just through and through, like it's a little messy to begin with, but, you know, like, just that well put together about that subject matter.
It doesn't feel like it doesn't feel like a product at, like, a single moment.
Yeah, and then just to, you know, walk into his job as the co-head of DC Studios and had this put in front of him, being like, okay, James, you need to market this to the masses, and then him be like, okay, I'm going to tell everyone that this is great and I love it. Because, like, I don't believe it for 1 second. At all. Like, I genuinely don't believe he likes this movie.
Look, I don't know, but I think this, and especially considering the, you know, the whole stance with going forward with reshoots and the ethical dilemmas of giving Ezra Miller more work and money by doing that. Like, this would have been a good example, like a good way for James Gunn to, you know, be pleasant and polite, but also, you know, kind of almost be able to wash his hands clean of it. But maybe he does love it because he really just dived head first.
Yeah, he did. And, like, I think it's also, but it's interesting that they have, like, Andy Muschietti said that Tom Cruise likes it. What? I've never heard a director, like, could you imagine if, like, Taika Waititi with Thor: Love and Thunder was like, oh, you know what? Adam Driver really likes this movie. Isn't that just so weird?
Yeah, there is a weird element of the marketing of this film being so centered on celebrity endorsements. It's weird.
Yeah, and it's also it's got a weird reverence with celebrity in the movie itself. Like, the crowd that we saw this film with. Okay, again, spoilers if we made it this far already. It ends with the Batman of Barry's universe ending up as George Clooney. And the crowd we saw it with loved it. And we were like, I know, I was like, I don't know about you, but like, I was like, is it, so are we doing Batman and Robin revisionism now? Is that what's happening?
Obviously it's a joke, and but like conceptually on paper, trapping Ezra Miller to never return to a DC film
With George Clooney.
by trapping them with George Clooney from Batman and Robin, that should be funny. And that also but it isn't in this film because the rest of the film is just so obnoxious. And yeah, for something that's about like Harris, the great Harris Dang,
Yeah.
Filmmatic on Twitter, correctly said, for a film that's about letting go of the past, it sure doesn't do a good job at it.
No, it doesn't at all.
Yeah, and there's one, like, it's weird, but it's like, oh yeah, no, there's one scene in the film towards the end, which is meant to be the emotional climax of the film, where Barry sort of tries to reverse the damage he's done. We haven't done a plot synopsis of this, but essentially he wants to save his mother, goes back in time, fucks everything up. The Batman's Michael Keaton, Supergirl is Supergirl. Then they die, and then he goes back and kills his mum essentially again. So, and then he's trapped with George Clooney. So, yeah, that's the overall premise of the film. Like, and yeah, like the scene where he essentially has to like make sure his mother
Dies.
gets killed, like that actually would have been a very emotional and well done and well performed by Ezra Miller scene in a better film, but because like the rest of the film was literally just, oh yeah, we got to see Batman, and it's just Michael Keaton, and then oh wow, Supergirl, she is the new head of the DC unit, and then they just both die. It's like,
Well,
yeah.
can we also just bring up? I wanted to bring the scene up where he talks to his mum before she dies.
Yeah.
Relate that to Across the Spider-Verse with Miles Morales' relationship with his parents in like the first hour and the last like half an hour of that film.
Yeah.
Across the Spider-Verse takes its time, building his relationship with him, their concerns for him, there's like a real emotional crux to that movie, and then this thinks it can just be just the most lazy, cynical, just Joss Whedon dialogue, fucking just mess of a movie, and then have one scene at the end that's meant to be a tearjerker. When we got...
that's what I mean. That's what I mean, yeah.
They got these, We have these two films in the last couple months that are of the same genre, have an actual premise and theme behind them, like driving the entirety of their runtime, and then we get this slop that thinks it's just all it needs to do is just chuck one scene in like that for it to, drive that home. Like, I just wish audiences would, actually, like, audiences need to say no, like, we want the good stuff. Like, stop putting the fucking... We're ordering, we're ordering steak. Stop putting a fucking dollar menu McDonald's burger in front of me.
Yeah.
This exhausted me. I said that I was done with the MCU after Guardians 3. I'm done with superhero films in general. Just like...
After taking a sabbatical with superhero stuff, like, I've seen 3 of them this year. 2 of them were worryingly good. And now this is like, here we go. This is why I stopped watching them.
Yeah. I will see Beyond the Spider-Verse, and I'll see the Batman Part 2.
I'm seeing that day one.
Yeah. Like, Beyond the Spider-Verse and Batman Part 2. That's the only thing they can get out of me at this point. Like, I'm not going to see the Marvels. I'm not going to see Captain America for, they changed the name of it. I don't even know what it is now.
Are you going to see Thunderbolt?
Oh my God.
Thunderbolts?
Jesus. Oh my. What else? Like, what slop is on the radar that they're going to try to tell me is worth watching?
Oh, there's Secret Invasion, but...
How many times can they say this is the best one since Endgame? They said it every fucking time.
The idea of doing Secret Invasion, which is a huge event in the comics, and then just like...
As a Disney Plus series.
And then like casting Olivia Colman as like a character. It's like, oh, I wonder who the... Skrull is, yeah. I don't even have to watch an episode. I don't even need to watch the second trailer for that. Obviously, it's like the 2 new characters.
I want Adam Driver to be in Fantastic Four so he gets his big paycheck, and then I want it to flop so he doesn't have to do another one. You know what I mean? Like,
I don't know. I don't want. It gave me a lot of dread seeing that rumor, and I hope that other unsourced rumor that Marvel's gotten cold feet with paying them too much.
It's like so funny. Like the Marvel of Endgame, with the amount of money they were making, they would not have like even thought about pay. They were like, yeah, just pay Adam Driver, just fucking give him the money. And their dwindling box office is my favorite thing in the world because they're scared of like paying him.
And look, this is interesting because like this is like the death of the Western, like a slow death, and we weirdly get a lot of the best stuff from the genre during this time. So like Guardians Volume 3 and like Spider-Verse, like, but you also there's also just like the disposable ones that used to be able to like, and I guess still are making money, but there is a downward slope. Like they took it too far, and I'm glad.
Yeah. Anyway. What does this Andy Muschietti Batman movie look like? God. Jesus.
It looks like, depending on the box office returns of The Flash, it will look either horribly mid, or it will look like in 6 months' time, Andy Muschietti has departed the bold and the brave due to creative difference. The brave and the bold and the beautiful
No, that's where he's
due
going to
to
end up.
creative differences.
Oh my god.
Remember when Andy Muschietti made Mama, and that was a fun little horror film?
So was It Chapter 1.
Yeah.
And then It Chapter 2 is one of the most hilariously bloated movies I've ever seen in my entire life.
I'm looking at the Flash box office forecast.
Yeah, go give us
In 3 weeks, it went from 140 million 3-day weekend in the US to forecast for 69 million 3-day weekend in the US. That's fucked.
And you know what? Deserved.
Yeah, I hope it gets lower.
Where did all... But, like, this CinemaCon screening, like, did they just fill it with the most neckbeards that's ever been in one room ever?
Ben, I'm just going to say something about the CinemaCon audience. There are 2 types of people who go there. People who want to see films first above all.
And Jeremy Jahns.
Jeremy Jahns, Andy Signor,
Oh.
and CinemaCon is like a literal like exhibitor thing. So it's for people. It's for like literal people who work for movie theaters
Yeah.
to be like, hey, this is what's coming up.
Yeah, I don't know. Could you imagine if they premiered this at Cannes instead of Indiana Jones?
That'd be fucking
my
hilarious.
God.
But
Just
Look,
imagining
yeah.
the booze. Or the Flash got a 6-minute standing ovation. I'm defeated. What's something good that's coming out? We're going to be talking about Mission Impossible. We'll talk about Barbie. I am the cynical guy about Barbie because I think that it's weird that there's... Okay, to be fair, I don't know many 6-year-old girls, but I was going to say it seems like there's more 25-year-old men than 6-year-old girls who are excited for the Barbie movie.
hey, Ben,
Yeah.
who would have thought that me, a grown male man, would be excited for the friggin' Barbie movie? Like, whoa.
I think the whole thing's embarrassing, to be honest. I'll watch it. It's going to be in the zeitgeist. I'll just see what it is. But
I think it'll be fine.
I think it'll be fine. But
fun.
I think just, in reality, look, Greta Gerwig, I'm sure she made a good Barbie movie. I'm sure. But I think Barbie movies, just for what they are for 6-year-old girls, should be those direct-to-DVD animated things, whatever they are. That's what they should be. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't... Like, the weird hype around it, I just... I just don't think I should be excited for a Barbie movie just on principle. That's just how it is. I don't...
Well, look, I want to see the return of a studio comedy, so I hope it's good
I'm sure Greta
fun
Gerwig
because of that.
did well for what she was tasked with.
But also, look, I'm looking at session times for films, and I actually have seen a fair few of these really great films that are showing. You Hurt My Feelings and One Fine Morning, which are about adults talking, and these are films made for adults, starring big name actors in a film for adults.
I know you love your
those are
adult
great.
movies, Jacob.
There's Saint Omer, which is a masterpiece. There's Ivan Sen's Limbo, which is a really good, sort of Australian, neo-noir with Simon Baker, and probably his best performance.
Since The Mentalist.
Yeah, only since then. Yeah, and it's
Sorry, Simon Baker.
I don't know.
Because you're listening.
I'm getting depressed by the... Oh, Simon Baker made so much money from that, though. He's committed to Australian screen now because he can.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just I don't know. I've been a little depressed at like how almost like infantile. I don't know how to pronounce it, but yeah, like even adult audiences have become about movies. Like movies used to like make like top the yearly box office charts, and it would legit just be people talking.
Like the conversation.
Like Kramer versus Kramer was like the top earner of that year, of its year.
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't know why I went on about that, but
look, man, like, okay,
let's start seeing movies for adults again, guys. Seriously,
how much would you have to be paid to sit through Transformers: Rise of the Beasts?
Probably have to be paid award rates. So currently, I'm only accepting shifts or work on the hourly basis, which is about $32 or over. So $32 times 2.5. Yeah, probably about like $100.
You would accept that to sit through that
for 2.5 hours? Yeah.
Okay.
I'm getting paid $100, sure.
Man, I'd rather gouge my eyes out. Anyway, this has been our review of The Flash. A terrible, horrible, ugly movie that I don't recommend anyone see. I hate to use this so hyperbolically, but if cinema continues in this way, cinema is dead. So this is going to be a litmus test of whether, if this makes money, it's over.
My litmus test, and call me a snob, if you like the CGI cameos of like Christopher Reeves, I legit don't give a fuck about your opinion about any other film.
No, I don't. Yeah.
Or art in general. I don't believe in objectivity in a film, but like if that's the shit you're saying is good, then no, I'm just not gonna listen.
There was a Nicolas Cage cameo that he didn't even film anything for. Terrible, terrible, terrible movie.
How much do you reckon Michael Shannon was paid?
What's his like? What's his like? Going rate or whatever it is.
I don't know, but it would have been like about 10 times that, I'd imagine. Goodbye.
Yeah. The depression has set in.
Let's see a good movie next time. Let's review a good movie next time.
What's out? Is this still the episode?
Let's stop recording.
Okay,
now.
goodbye.